Hello, I'd like to show you a really cool exercise for the shoulders. This is especially good if you're a martial artist, but it will have many functional benefits for pretty much anyone. But if you don't know who I am, I'm Eero Westerberg. I'm the head coach here at VAHVA Fitness. I've been doing martial arts for a very long time. Nowadays I focus a lot on MMA, I do Thai boxing, different arts. There's also a lot of martial artists, professional martial artists, recreational martial artists and fighters who are doing our training programs, because we show a lot of functional exercises that are really focused on universal performance. It really carries over to all kinds of physical activities, but especially into the martial arts. So here I want to show you this shoulder exercise variation. It's actually part of Warrior Training exercise. Warrior Training exercise is a high-intensity program, and it has a lot of exercises where I try to kind of maximize really the functionalism. It's not just for the conditioning, but it's also we want to have that these exercises really develop the body for certain good or develop certain good aspects in the body. So this example, what we're doing is the fighter press. What we do in the fighter press, actually I don't need these weights yet. There's a rotational movement involved all the time. Every single time I'm gonna do a press, I'm gonna rotate. So I'm using all the time, every single time I rotate here, bam, these are active, bam, this side active. And I just put that pressing motion into that rotation. And if you notice from this, it's just kind of like more like a seesawing. It's not a full pressing motion like a regular press or from the side. The arm travels to the front, like so, and I'm only taking it to the point where it's still kind of relatively vertical forearm. So I'm not taking it here. There's a few things that are really special about this. First one is of course the engagement from my obliques, or every time I'm rotating, I'm really utilizing this area here. Like these muscles rotate, bam, they activate immediately. This is like some people think like why, for example, I have a good development here. This is one of the reasons. I do a host of rotational exercises in addition to movements, isolation exercises, and even just the martial arts themselves. I develop those areas. But so that's one of the specialty in this exercise. And what it promotes with this motion, it's also something special in the scapula. So a lot of the times when people do the pressing, they're gonna be, if you watch like really my shoulder blade, they're gonna have the shoulders more like here. They're gonna have them really back. When I push forward from here, kind of like in a punching, like boom, I go here, my shoulder blade is also going forward. It promotes this motion. And this is the muscle serratus here. Serratus is sometimes called the boxer's muscle, because when you punch, you can see it's not, I don't punch this way, I punch this way. So this is the major mover here, and that's the serratus. So when I'm doing this pressing motion, rotating here, I'm really thrusting this forward, right? And then going to the last part, which is the shoulder motion itself, which is just this. It's a very small range of motion. It's extremely good for activating the anterior deltoid, and especially activating when it goes past this 90-degree shoulder flexion. Because if you think about a lot of people, when we're doing push-ups, you're doing bench press, almost any pressing exercise, common pressing exercise there are, you're most of the time you are training the anterior deltoid actually, but you're only training it in this range here, going from like next to the torso to about 90 degree. So training, when we go to training the pressing, most people they press from here, or there's kind of the motion is something like where you pull a lot with the lateral head. So pushing and keeping it like this way helps you to really isolate this anterior part. It's amazingly amazingly good exercise to really pump that area, and they will get very, very sore and just maximally develop with this kind of short pulsing motion. It doesn't always have to be full range. You need to always think what is the function or what's the intention behind the exercise. If you want to develop the full range of motion, you can do that as well, but it's a different exercise. In this one, we are focusing on the short range, isolating this part and utilizing that together with the rotation from the obliques and with the shoulder blade motion of upward rotation, protraction. And what you really must understand also is that this is what allows you eventually to even pull your shoulder overhead like this way. Because if I'm here, shoulder shrugged, it won't go. I change the position here and then it goes. It's not just the deltoid, it's the scapula. But that's just details. Going back to the weights, I'm gonna take a good stance because in all these exercises, you gotta be stable on your legs. That's really the first beginning point. So warrior twin X style, it's very it's continuous without sort of pauses. It's not like 1, 2, it's not like a repetition. It's more like flows from one repetition to another. You get a lot of dynamic rotation, stretch reflex from those obliques. And I'm already feeling the oblique muscles and my shoulders. And this is like in warrior twin X, we do like 30 seconds of that, just pumping, and maximally 5 rounds. So that's the effectiveness really, is keep the motion going. Of course, there are different variations, modalities that you can apply to do more control and so on and so on. But this one, the way we do it is extremely good, like I said, for fighters, because the muscles that you were utilizing here create so much power, they create so much force. They're part of, we're not really utilizing the hips here, we're really focusing on the upper body part of the punch, the obliques, rotation, and then the scapula that ultimately delivers the fist. So all of those parts really will benefit a lot of martial artists. If you have a hard time, for example, punching and getting that sort of shoulder snap to it, getting a sort of a shoulder blade snap that sometimes talk about having a lot of power, having that mobile, because if you're stiff on the shoulders, your punches are going to be short and they're going to lack that last bit of snap and looseness that actually creates a lot of strength. Another aspect that is helps, that's the punching itself, but holding the hands up here. Because of course this is going to be very tiring. So in this one you're constantly holding, the arms never go here. So there's always activation actually going on, keeping them in the front. It's the same like if you punch and you keep the other arm protection over here, always arms up. So it's also just the endurance to really keep them up here. I notice every time you do some drills for a long time of sparring, it's really get fatigued the shoulders. So training that endurance like this way separately is extremely effective because you have that extra weight. So going, taking the weight away, then you have even more endurance once you go to the actual sparring. If you want to deconstruct your training into pieces and then reconstruct it into something better, something that's more sustainable, something that has a little bit more purpose behind it, then you can check out our 10 Commandments. This is a 10-day course, which is absolutely completely free at the moment. It shows a lot of principles, a lot of ideas that we utilize in training. It shows a lot about the philosophy that actually help us come up with these different things and help us to understand our body and really do training that has actually purpose and intention behind it. Every exercise that we do, sometimes in the programs, you may not understand exactly why is it there, why is this the warrior twin X, what does it do, but there's always something behind it, something that's very useful, something that's very functional, transfers to many different things, helps you to actually have an optimally working human body. So you can check that out at the website, VAHVAfitness.com/10 Commandments, and you can start right away and learn this kind of secret and advanced methods and principles. So that's it, guys. I hope you try this, see how you feel about it. If there's any martial artist fighters watching this, I really want to hear how you feel about it. If it helps you to improve your punches, improve your rotation and force production, and you're able to keep your hands up, let me know how you feel about it. But otherwise that, take care guys and stay strong.